Hey, what's up, guys? So, I was able to make it to the top 100. Didn't think that was going to happen. If you'd asked me that a couple weeks ago, I'd have been like, nah. But I'm here, and I don't know how long I'll be able to stay here, but at least I was able to make it. And so, let's take a look at where that puts me with trying to get to M3. And so, I'm at 1983, and I would need to get to 2000, and I think they're giving me less than 15 points now, so I think I got 13 the last time I won. So even if I did win, I don't think I would be getting there this week. So it would take a 3-0 this week and then a 2-1 next week at the very least. I'm going against Almost Deaf, and Almost Deaf is well over 135 mil and 5 mil STP, and here are my stats. So we're pretty evenly matched for the most part. And so we'll see how this one goes. I've already got my attacks in. And what I'll do is I'll just jump right over to that, and then hopefully Almost Deaf will get his attacks in, and then we can see how my defense held up. I want to double back and show you guys my defense. I believe last week was a little different. So if you've seen some of the videos this week, you'll see that I'm going with Darkhold 1 with Quicksilver and New War, and that's been doing pretty good. Sometimes guys, I think all this week guys stumbled on it to a degree, whether they had to double tap or it was just low efficiency and they had to go in with something really strong like a Cabal team. And then 2 has been somewhat reliable the full lot of time. I think most guys are doing that, and it causes some problems. I was able to build up Black Knight and Captain America. And I think Cap is a P2. So maybe down the line I can make him a P3. That'd be pretty cool. And also Cosmic Ghost Rider is P2. And so this room 3 is a little different, since I was able to one-shot Mephisto Spider Society, and I'm sure other guys are too, and this is with Illuminati, not even with Odin. And I'm sure there are plenty of guys getting Odin. Almost Deaf has Odin, and I'm thinking next week there'll be more guys with Odin. I'm wondering if Illuminati can one-shot this. They maybe can, because I'm thinking they should be able to beat this team. But it turns out to be slightly different. So if guys are double sacking it, it's a little more challenging. And then having them in room 3, I think, could be beneficial. So we'll see how that goes. And so we're just going to jump over. That allows me to have Spider Society in 5. And I was wondering how I could mix it up with a 5th. And my first thought is because I like to go in with the Superior 6, especially with Craven, and having Ares could affect the safeguard, and maybe that does something if guys aren't aware of that. And so we'll see how that may play out. As well as Alpha Flight normally is easily beaten with the Eternals Kestrel counter. And so my thought is, well, how can I make this a little tougher? Because I went against one of my opponents, I think it was yesterday, and he had Doom in there. And Doom didn't make much of a difference because Kestrel kind of negates him. So I figured, well, maybe Dorm, because what happens is they're not fast. I mean, an option would be Nightcrawler. I've been seeing guys put Nightcrawler in there. Nightcrawler does speed up the whole team, and that can be problematic. As you'll see, my opponent has Nightcrawler on defense, and you'll see how that goes. But I think for the most part, that defense can be beaten with like a Mercs Old Man Logan type team, and so that would be the better route to counter that team, or for sure way to one-shot. And so my thought is, well, if you can extend their lives and all of these toons have the stealth, then maybe they get a chance to come in after your opponent goes in with his quick first or 2-turn attacks, and then they're able to do what they can do. And I have them all built pretty well, so it's like, let's just give that a chance, see how that goes. And then still sticking with the Orchis team. And the full team is pretty deadly. Sentinels turned out to be pretty key. Hopefully I can get Nimrod to 4, but I think it's going to take his event because I'm quite a ways away. But Sentinel is at 5, and so he's been coming in handy to make this room a challenge. And I'm very close to getting Scientist Supreme to P3, so at least maybe next week she'll be a P3, and we'll see how that goes. So let's jump over to my attacks, and you guys can see how that played out for me. I really like going into the Hive Mind, Noir, Black Knight defense with Cabal, Ultimus, and Zemo. And of course, you know that Ultimus is going to go pretty quick, get some good damage in, and then Zemo can go in and make sure that we have crits, even though Ultimus should give crits. And it makes it pretty quick and efficient. As you see here, I think it's only 4 or maybe 5 turns in all. So the mistake I made, 2 actually, was I didn't take enough time after work to kind of relax my mind, because at my age, that's really important. I have to get off from work, and it's a mentally stressful job. But to the point, I was determined to make this Eternals Kestrel comp work, and I figured Kingpin would be enough. My thought was, even though Nightcrawler would go first, that Nick would go next. Clearly not. Once Nightcrawler gives this team the speed up, there's no catching up. Nick is just too old of a tune, and he's not going to be able to give the advantage to this counter if there's a Nightcrawler there. So the best thing to do is to go in with one of your stronger teams. And I actually had forgotten I had the Mercs here. And so the Mercs probably could have one-shot this. Sammy had mentioned going in with the Mercs and taking Phoenix. And so because of the extra power that she would give him, also she taunted, so that was really a plus. But as you can see here, I think even if Nightcrawler had have gone first and the team got that speed up, it's a good chance they could have weathered the storm. It's not for sure, but it's possible. And so if I were to see this again, I would give this a try, knowing that I still have the Eternals Kestrel comp available to clean up. So this is actually the first battle I went into, and this was where I wanted to try out Odin with the Illuminati. And I had the bug to where I could not actually do my attacks. I had to do them kind of using the auto button. And for the first 2 or 3 hits, I did that, and then I just put on full auto and set the targets. Fortunately for me, the way the abilities go in order for the Illuminati, it plays out as pretty well to make sure this happens. And so I was able to get it done. As you can see, this is still a close battle. You see how low the Odin is getting with health. And I thought he would get his health back, but he's not able to. And so definitely this is where I think the bigger Odin will come in handy. And so hopefully I can have him the next week of trial start. But for the most part, he still gets the job done. He just does not survive. He takes the battle as long as he can, and he does get his ult off, and so that's key. And that makes for enough damage that the Illuminati, what they have going on, can finish this match and make for the one shot. Extreme X-Men seem to have scaled very well. And so, even though Masters of Evil is still pretty good and Kang is great, using Ultron or some other fifth would not be as reliable. So I've just gotten accustomed to trying to plan this attack with Apoc to make sure that I can get it done. Now, there's different sequences in how we can play this. And I think Sham was helping me with this, Sham and Sammy. And so we went about it slightly differently than I would have. But at the end of the day, my goal would have been to go in and still one-shot the Forge, which we were able to do. And then I think the team just falls apart from there. So when I look at the Spider Society with the pre-taunt, my thought is still the Superior Six with Vulture is going to just kind of walk through it because they're so fast and they don't really give Spider Society a chance to take a turn. Perhaps other counters can work, but this clearly to me is, as far as a budget counter, would be the most efficient. So making this switch of putting Annihilators and Skrull as a team on offense has been very powerful. And I would suggest everybody do that. Try to find a way to make your defense as good as you can, because as we're moving forward, this is an incredibly strong offensive team, especially going against any version of the Orchis. This Orchis with Dorm, I've done it with Orchis and Skrull, and they still manage to pull off the win. And this is in room 6 where these room rules could affect a lot of teams, but they don't seem to have any effect on, or a major effect on Annihilators. So it's something to keep in mind as we're going forward with the rest of the season, that this could be a good way to flip the tides for the rest of the season.